Welcome to Self-Discovery Media Network, formerly known as Self-Discovery Radio. Each week we bring you illuminating shows from those making a difference in the lives of others. They've taken their own journey. They're here to share their skills, their wisdom to help you on yours. You can see more about us at selfdiscoverymedia.com, and please listen to our wonderful collection of shows. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul here on Self-Discovery Media. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and I have a wonderful guest here today, and we're going to be diving into something very, very, very deep. Her name is Betska K-Burr. And we're diving into kinetics, mind kinetics. What are your cellular memories? How do they work? How do we delete the ones that don't work? And how do we actually embrace ourselves? Now, she works with leaders that are, we assume that people, because they're CEOs and they're leaders of the companies, don't have issues or don't have problems or don't have memories. They do. They have things that block them from moving forward in life. And how do we address those? How do we even open up their minds to actually understanding that there is a soul cellular memory there that needs to be addressed, and to be willing to tap into that emotion that's around that cell and get rid of it and go through the process of getting rid of it. Now, Betska did a wonderful demonstration on me, which blew my mind, which I then, on Sarah's View of Life, decided to address in my weekly show. And it really was fascinating what came up. We always think the problem is this. And then through her technique, we find out the problem is actually something else that's getting in the way. And it's really, really intriguing. And then you go, yeah, I didn't know I was carrying that around with me. And so yes, this wonderful technique of going delete. And so we can remove that from our inner dialogue and address it with a more positive verbiage in order to move forward. Now she's 20 years been doing this business, working with coaches and leaders internationally. She devised this program herself through her own research. And there's a lot of things we're going to be talking about here today, and kind of one of them is, what is mind kinetics and how does it affect the subconscious mind? There's so much to talk about here. I want us to dive right in and get right to it, because we're going to have a lot of fun in unraveling our wonderful soul psyche and understand how we tick. So welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you. Just a couple of things to add there. My name is actually Betska K-Burr, K-hyphen.
Okay,
K-Burr.
Okay, I thought the K was stood for the middle name. Okay, my apologies.
No, that's okay. K-hyphen Burr. Many people make that same mistake, and that's okay. Something to talk about, right?
Yes, definitely. And what are your origins with your name? Because I was trying to work that out.
I'm of Ukrainian origin.
I thought so, right.
So my both sets of grandparents born in Ukraine and came over to Canada in one set the late 1800s and the other set 1905, somewhere in there. So I have some pretty strong Ukrainian roots, and the culture is a gorgeous culture. The dancing and the food, the pierogies and the cabbage rolls.
Yes.
And I'm vegan now, so I make all Ukrainian food veganized, but it's delicious, and I really appreciate the culture and the people. They're very beautiful
and very coming together, aren't they? Very, very cohesive community based.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so.
And nice that your culture is carried on. That obviously you are very much Canadian, but they kind of kept that culture. You haven't lost it.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I learned the dancing when I was very young, and then our daughter, she learned how to dance, and she was dancing for many years. And it's. I think it taught me a lot about community, a lot of the challenges we have in community, as well as a lot of the benefits that come with community. And I guess that's what we've done here at Coaching and Leadership International. We keep trying to build the community of like-minded people, leaders and coaches who really want to be progressive instead of staying stuck, in the mud.
But you hit something very important here, community. People kind of think that when, you're a coach or a leader, that you're over here and everybody else is over there. And it isn't. It is about bringing the best out of everybody within your community, isn't it? That's what true leadership really is.
Mm-hmm. And understanding, I'm a specialist in human behavior, as you know, and I am a student of it, and will for the rest of my life be a student of human behavior. So I love bringing these people together and learning about them and understanding them and just, helping them to help others. Like this, we trained this one gentleman in Delhi, India, many years ago, and he hasn't been using his coaching methodologies very much, his Mind-Kinetics methodologies. And then he sent this email this week, and it just touched my co-president and I so deeply. He said that a very young man came to him and told him that he's got an incurable disease. Mm-hmm. And that he was going to be ascending very soon. And he wanted to know how to tell his parents about this incurable disease. And he's, in his 20s, I'm assuming, something like that. And so our coach, Mind-Kinetics coach, brought out his tools, used the tools, and the young man walked away very clear and very peaceful, not just about how to express this crisis to his parents, but also to feel calm within himself on how to handle the last few days and weeks of his life. So, wow, a touching story, and we hear this all over the place and from all of our students and leaders that they pick up the tools when they need them, and it really supports them. So I'm emotional telling you the story. It's a very touching story.
It's not, people think leadership is all to do with either politics or business, e-commerce. Yeah. It isn't. Leadership is, we're leaders in our own lives. And we bring our leadership to community, whatever our instrument is, we bring it to the orchestra of life, and we could be a part of many orchestras as well, depending what we're doing. And it is help the community in all aspects, not just business, because a lot of people think it's politics and business. Life is business.
Thank you, because I really love to spread that message that it's about, there's professional leadership in the corporate world where, as you rightly said, I spend a lot of my time, but I also spend a lot of time with people in their personal leadership in their homes. The divorce rate is still very high, 40, 50% in North America. So we work with helping the couples to work things out so that they can perhaps stay together. That's always the goal. But if they can't, to leave with dignity and peace and respect for each other and so on. And then the children, taking personal leadership to not buy into that peer pressure on drugs or, of course, some of these children are being labeled as ADD, ADHD, when I believe that this work that we do can just kick that out, because it's really all emotional, spiritual stuff that's got them into that position in the first place. So we address all of those issues, and then the child can be free, if you will.
Well, I want to go back to marriage. A lot of people may meet someone, they fall in love, and there's a connection. But what they don't realize is they've brought baggage with them from anything to do in their own lives, and sometimes to do with past lives. And something gets triggered in the marriage, and insecurity is generally what sets people off, a lack of respect, where that connection starts breaking apart. And a lot of it is because we unknowingly bring these issues. And it's the issues that get in the way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting, the spiritual masters say that we often marry our enemy from a past life, and we've come here to rub the diamond, to clean our karma up from those past lives. And then if we're lucky, we marry someone who is, very gentle, and we don't have all of this rub stuff. But when people understand that, you reminded me of a very senior leader I was working with a few years ago, and he came onto the call one day, and he was so upset because he had met a young lady. He'd been married for 25, 30 years, and he'd met a young woman that he fell in love with, and he wanted to divorce his wife, and he was just feeling so, oh my God, you know, how can I do this to my wife? But I love this young lady. And so we had a long discussion around this whole aspect of, you know, we all have a purpose together.
Yeah.
You know, we have a purpose. So I said to him, maybe how possible is it that your purpose with your wife has ended? Yeah. Maybe you've come together and you've finished the learning, and it's now time to let go so that you can move on and have a new experience and fulfill your new spiritual purpose with your young wife. Oh my God, you'd think the weight of the world had been lifted off of his shoulders. It wasn't an excuse to end his marriage. He knew that it was ended, but he just needed to have some spiritual context to it. And so he left, and he was very happy, and he was able to leave his wife with respect and dignity, and, you know, and continue on a relationship. So, you know, once we have that deep understanding, it's all okay.
We live chapters in lives. You know, we are our own book. Sometimes some people are a few books, you know, just depending what their lives are. But, you know, we have many, many chapters in our lives. And each chapter, you know, I actually named the show that I did with, you know, the cellular seasons, because, you know, our cells kind of go through seasons, you know, and those memories are seasons that are in there of our lives, right? And when we look at those chapters or those seasons of our lives, things that happen to us that we've retained in that cellular memory, you know, they belong to a different chapter, but they like to appear repeatedly in future chapters. And we know that storyline doesn't fit. You know, why is this? Why do I keep bringing this line into this chapter? And it's like, you know, as when you went through me, as I gave you the issue as that, and it came up as something different. And so when we have something that's a repetitive thread in our lives, it's like a tap on the shoulder. You need to deal with this, right?
Yes, and you haven't finished dealing with it. Like, people will come and we'll do some of these, you know, Mind-Kinetics sessions, and I think I mentioned we have over 80 different methodologies that we can use, right? And they come and they say, well, I feel like I've dealt with that. And I said, if your subconscious has brought it forward again, it means you need to complete that, and let's focus on dealing with it today, and look at, you know, whatever beliefs are stuck in your subconscious mind that are still negative. What emotions? You know, you and I talked about cell biology, and perhaps sometime today, if you want, I can bring up that same document I shared with you. And we can take a look at the science behind all of this, because Mind-Kinetics is really a science that opens the mind and empowers the client to develop innovative solutions and take action for permanent positive change. Permanent positive change. There's so many modalities out there that don't do that. You know, like I hear some of my clients say, well, here's a classic client. She became depressed at the age of 19, and then she went through therapy and was on a couple of antidepressants and so on. And 30 years later, we got together because the antidepressants, they kept upping the strength of the antidepressants, and she kept getting more and more depressed. And so when we worked together, it was permanent positive change. And her life has completely changed. And she was addicted, by the way. She had 3 addictions, and quite addicted to abuse. You know, her male friend raped her every night for 3 months and in a row. It's just horrible stuff. And just a very deep, dark hole, and addicted to gambling. She would go and think nothing of spending $500 a night at the gambling table, and she was deeply in debt and so on. And her life is just completely turned
A train
around.
wreck. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And she is a manager, a middle manager in government.
Right. Yeah.
And we have many of those.
Yes.
I wanted to share another story about one of our, what a precious leader this is. She is a very progressive leader, right? And she worked with me for a whole year. She had 30 hours of coaching paid for by her government. And she was very grateful for that. And I was very grateful that the government allows you to work on both your professional and your personal issues, because you
They're
can,
one.
they are one, totally. And so, and by the way, she's a great lover of the brain walk, which we must include in our conversation here today, because it's a free tool for your viewers. But what happened was she worked with me, and her environment was very toxic. So she left that environment, got a new job, and guess what? The environment was toxic again. And so we clearly needed to keep working at it, you know, to dig out, you know, what was really going on there. And so anyway, I heard about her getting depressed through the grapevine, because I have a lot of clients in that particular government. And so I called her up and I said, what's going on here? You know, how can I support you? And I didn't have any room in my calendar for 2 weeks, so I couldn't do a coaching session just then. But I said, go online and do the brain walk. She said, oh my God, I forgot about the brain walk. So she went in and she just eliminated a lot of this garbage that had been accumulating that she hadn't gotten rid of. And then when we did our session, we actually needed 2 more sessions, and then she was clear. Now she's got this fabulous job. She is so happy and everything's great. But here's my point. Her doctor prescribed antidepressants before she got to work with me again, prescribed antidepressants, and she started taking them. And one day she was at the pharmacist across the road from her government office, and she started to have a conversation with the pharmacist. And he said to her that the majority of the prescriptions that he fills are for her government office. And that prescription is antidepressants.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's horrified. She said it is a crisis.
Yes.
There is a crisis in her government, that people are so stressed and so angry. The environments are so toxic that that, you know, people are turning to antidepressants. And then, of course, when you get filled with antidepressants, your reality
changes,
can be greatly diminished. And so I ask you, Sarah, who is running our government?
I know. Well, you know, I often refer to it as a sewer pit, you know, and that is because you do have so many emotions and egos and agendas in there. And, you know, you just have to see kind of the aisle of the mudslinging back and forth, but nobody seems to ever get to the core of something. And, you know, very often, you know, we're mothers, we feel like rolling up our sleeves and going in there, sending this one to the corner, that one to the corner, and clean up your room, you know, because sometimes it's so logical, but they get so wrapped up in an emotion.
That's the key.
That just spirals them completely.
And the drama.
I mean, you know, goodness sake, Trumpster, you know, the whole drama around that. It is one massive, great big soap opera, you know, that is being played out. And the stress level and the anxiety level in North America right now is through the roof on so many scales. And nobody's giving people the skills to handle it. And one of the things is just don't take this on. But, you know, it's bombarded at us all the time. And the government thing, when I was in Washington, D.C. back in 1976, I was staying with someone who worked for the government, and her husband was a university professor. And I went to a party in Georgetown, and everybody there worked for the government. And everybody there had a psychiatrist. And when they found out I didn't have one, they offered me one. I said, no, I work out my own problems, you know.
Wow.
And it was like, what? And then they found out that I was in the theater, and they actually asked me to leave. They don't make a
Wow.
decision in their life without their psychiatrist approving of it.
Oh,
Yet these people were
wow.
in position to make decisions for the country. Looks
Oh,
like not much
wow.
has changed.
Right. Yeah. Mm.
And I mean, looking at the government thing through the years around the world, it is like a tornado that keeps spinning and spinning, and has no resolve and doesn't seem to stop, just creates chaos. That is a
Mm.
wonderful example to really look at as a society what we need to deal with, because we cannot, on a soul, heart, spiritual scale, keep living like this. It has stretched our psyches
Mm.
to the limits. And we have to, each and every one of us, deal with our shoot. It
Yep.
is up
That's
to
right. Yeah.
us. It's not
Mhm.
somebody else's problem. It's not some,
Mhm.
it is, we've got this, and whether it is a memory we're not got to the forefront. As I said, it's always something else more than what you thought it was. But if we're not willing to look for someone like you who can help us go deep dive into
Mhm.
that mind memory, because we've got to remember it's the mind memory is not connecting with the heart and soul memory, and those memories all need to come to the forefront in order to be cleared. And if we're not willing to be open-minded to go through the process, we're going to continue on the same old spiral. And it's,
Mhm.
it's a spiral going down, going nowhere. So we owe it to society, don't we, to
Yes.
step into this, not just for ourselves, but for everybody we interact with.
Now, I do want to tip my hat to the governments that, hire our company
Yes,
and our
they're
coaches and so
recognizing
on.
that. Yeah.
They're recognizing that they've, got some issues, and we work, we are definitely helping them, and we measure our progress. We measure everything that happens. We measure it through, we have like 22, 24 different ways to measure the success of a leader, or the success of a uh, husband, wife,
Mm-hmm.
child, whatever. We call it return on investment. And we just, we can see how delving into that subconscious mind and kicking out those
Yeah.
negative beliefs about self and others is what gives us the progress. It helps us to love ourselves more.
Yes.
It helps us to love others. So very,
I mean,
very vital.
it's all very well telling somebody, like, I've had a history with depression. Don't tell me to snap out of it. This has
Yeah.
got nothing to do with the mind at this point. I have
Mm.
no control over those emotions that happen. I have to recognize what the triggers are, and I have to find my solutions to deal with it. And there's, oh, you just got to do this, you just got to do that. No, we need to go deep. What's causing it in the first place?
Yeah.
Unfinished, unresolved things that lay within us systemically, that have been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we need to go and clear them out, because we're carrying this heavy coat of burden with us forward in everything that we do in life.
Well, you know what the issue is, Sarah, is that the majority of people don't understand the power of the subconscious mind.
Mm.
And they don't even know what it is. When I'm working with kids, I say it's our back brain, but it's really in the cells, as
Yes.
you and I have already mentioned. And 95 to 99% of our daily behaviors, actions, are operated by our subconscious mind.
And that's
So
memory.
yeah, the subconscious mind is what we are not aware of.
Right.
So that's why we need to go deep. We need to find out what is that programming in our
Yes.
subconscious mind. And, may I share my story with your
Please.
viewers?
Yes, please
I
share
think,
away.
I think it'd be, I was a very successful executive. I worked for 3M, and then I worked for Harris 3M and Lanier as national marketing manager. And I loved my job. And then I married late, and we had our baby in our late 30s. And something happened when our daughter was born. Something just caused, and I know what it is, something caused my brain to go fuzzy and caused my back to be so sore I could barely get out of a chair. It was so painful. And here I am in my late 30s. I felt like I was an 80 or 90-year-old, right? And so I kept going to my doctor and saying, what's the matter with me? You know, I'm a smart woman, you know, high IQ. I've, you know, achieved a very high position in corporate, broke through that glass, that old glass barrier, if you will, glass ceiling. And she said, well, let's do some tests. So they did everything, every modern test that they had at that time, which was in 1990. And she came back and she said, there's nothing wrong with you physically. X-rays and MRIs and nothing wrong with you. So I went back home and I kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I took things into my own hands. I decided, well, if the medical world wasn't good. Oh, by the way, she wanted to give me antidepressants. Right. They called them. Yes. They called them tranquilizers back then. Yes. Right.
Yes.
Because she thought it was just stress related, which is fair enough, you know, stress related. But I was not going to have any mind control. Right. No, thank you. Right. Didn't make any logical sense to me. So then I started going to see shiatsu massage, Chinese medicine, homeopathy, you know, all of the natural route. And it helped to steady me, but it didn't get rid of the problem. So, and then one day, Ken Jackson, who's a wonderful artist out of London, Ontario, went to a workshop and he said, Betska, I think you need to talk to this woman. I think you need to go and see her. Her name is Jan Sweeney. And she's going to do some work on you that may seem a little strange to your intelligent mind, but be open to it, right? So away I went, and oh my God, Sarah, after 2 sessions, I said to Jan, can you teach me how to do this? Teach me. I want to work on myself, which is what we do now. We teach children and, you know, men and women at home and corporate leaders, anybody who wants to learn how to clean out their subconscious mind, take a vacuum cleaner to it to clean out all that garbage, that chute that's in there, as you say, right? So anyway, so she taught me, and then I left. I went on a 4-year leave from our business, and I was doing 60 to 80. I'm a professional speaker and workshop leader, and I was doing 60 to 80 gigs a year. And I took myself off the speaker circuit to research, to work on myself. I stopped counting at 15,000 subconscious negative beliefs. I stopped counting. I don't know how many I've done, 30, 40, 50,000 by now. It's massive. That's how much is in there. But I come from an abusive childhood, so I needed to clean out a lot of that stuff so I wouldn't have any anger or judgment against my mom, my dad, my siblings, you know, just kind of clean that out and let it go. And so as I started working on myself using a couple of tools that Jan had taught me, my husband and daughter would be in bed and I would work on myself. And I cleaned. That vacuum cleaner went every night, 7 days a week, an hour and a half to 2 hours every night. When they were in bed, I was cleaning. I was determined to get rid of this fuzz and my lower back pain. And within 2 to 3 months, it was gone. That's how much I was cleaning. And I need your viewers to know that my back pain was all about not feeling supported.
Right. Yeah.
Back support, right?
Yes.
That spine.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling supported by my husband very much, and he's a very loving, supportive guy, I tell you. We've been married 30 years this year, right? He's amazing. I didn't feel supported by my mother my dad was gone by then, or my siblings. But more importantly, I didn't feel supported by God.
Right.
So once I started to clear out all that stuff from my subconscious mind, my body began to respond, my mind began to respond, and that's how Mind-Kinetics came about. This science, you know, of these 80 plus methodologies, and in this big thick manual, right?
Wow.
You know, and that's not all of it. It came because I was cleaning myself out, and I was teaching myself how to think like an Einstein. How to come up with brilliant solutions instantly. So we have some methodologies that we can take you into your superconscious.
Yes.
Our coaches love this tool. You go into the superconscious, and within 90 minutes, you can have up to 14 solutions to a challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know any other system in the world that can do that.
No. And the thing is, you're getting out of your mind. Right? It's you're opening up to those solutions that want to come in. But if you have blockages there, but we have defenses that are there. Oh, no, you can't do that because you're vulnerable. Somebody screwed you over one time, so you can't go down that path. That door's closed. Oh, no, you can't do that because this happened to you. No, that door is closed. Well, if you've got all the doors open, right, now you're actually going to channel all that wonderful creativeness. That it comes in because nobody's going gatekeeper going, no, close the door, no. And how many times we hear no in our lives, and it becomes a very subconscious thing that's no first, right?
Yeah. And you know, we're about to launch a program, and it's free for women. I hope many women view this and come. It's, you know, Women Take the Lead and Shine.
Yes.
LEAD stands for Leadership Empowerment and Advanced Development. And we're going to talk about, and I need you to know that in my client base, and I'm going to guess that in the client base of all of our students, I've got clients in 50 plus countries, and that our students have probably 50% men and 50% women. That's roughly my client base. But more and more women are coming now. And the reason why the men started to come was because I had to clear my subconscious mind around men, because men sexually abused me.
Right. Yes.
When I was a young girl. So I had to clean that out so that they would feel safe to come to me, so that I wouldn't judge them or anything like that. So the men started to come. But for women today, we've got so many major issues. As you said, depression. And then we go on drugs, which suppress our reality, and then we can't think clearly. Marriage is still a major issue. And for women, when marriages don't succeed, we feel like the failure.
Yes.
That we failed the marriage because we're supposed to be the nurturers. Right? And then we've got equality in jobs. We still don't have, you know, so many women are not getting paid the same as men, and we're having trouble to get to the top. And then you look at some women in some countries, as we've heard, in some of these countries where the women have to, they're totally suppressed. They are managed by their husbands or by their brothers. They don't have a life of their own.
They're cattle.
They're cattle. Yeah. So we've got, that's why Shandora Hedrick, who is one of our senior instructors, the two of us are putting on this program. It's the first for Coaching and Leadership International. We want to really support women to lead and shine, and we're going to do it. There might be other programs out there, I don't know, but we're going to be working with the subconscious mind. We're going to be addressing all that stuff that's buried. And I am so excited. It's time that I did that.
We are right now in the era of women. Now, this doesn't mean women hating men or women overpowering men. It also brings out the femininity within the man, because we're yin and yang. We're male and female within us. But we have been suppressed for so many thousands of years. And now it is time for that suppression to go, and that we are very nurturing, fluided creatures as human beings, especially as women. We love to see things flow in a beautiful, almost orderly manner. But we also understand that chaos, trying to create order out of chaos, is what we live in all the time. If you've been a parent, you know there's always going to be chaos going in the house. Managing the time, managing everything that you're doing, managing your emotions, the balance of everything. And women have an innate balance in there, because there's that need to constantly bring about the structure and the balance so things can flow. But we've had so many blockages against us for so long now that it stopped us from going forward. And slowly we're seeing in the media the barriers going down and going down and going down. And this isn't a tower for women, for a time for women to step into power. We're not looking for that. We're looking for that cohesive empowerment of the beautiful instrument coming to the orchestra and creating a music and a symphony that resonates and rises every soul up. And the woman can do that because of the nurturing that lies within her. But she can't do that until she has freed herself from all those memories, from so many lifetimes, from so many DNA programming that's imprinted from her ancestors that needs to be deleted, so that she can really truly step into her empowerment. Because the leadership of women in this next 1,000 years will bring about the peace that we seek. But if we want peace, we have to find it within us to bring it to the table.
That's I've written many books, as you know. My latest book is called The God in Coaching. Nothing to do with religion, but just about our spirit, the key to a happy life. And that's exactly what I say in the first chapter. World peace will come from inner peace.
Yes.
You know, we have to find, that's the only way we're going to get it. And you know, we're running this program for women, but chances are we're going to run one for men as well.
We have to, because
separately.
They need the tools to actually understand how to step into this new realm, how to bring their own femininity out in there. You know, and I can hear a guy say, I don't want to turn gay. It's got nothing to do with that. It's bringing that, because from my own research, from all the shows and the interviews that I've done, men want to feel vulnerable in the way they love, in the way they care, in the way they interact with life. They're tired of living with this label that they've got to be macho and dominant and controlling. They don't want that. They really don't want that. They want to have people in their lives, men and women, where they can soul, heart, and spirit talk, where it is coming from the heart. And they're not going to get rejected or beaten up because it's coming from the heart. Men are just as hungry as women are to step into heart center. And that's where we need to be right now as a humanity, heart center. But again, we can't do that if we're still carrying old programming around. I always say that one side of the brain is the hard drive. That's what kind of is the mechanics of the body. But the mind is where all the programming is. And that programming is all of our ancestors, every single thing that's happened to us in our lives, you know, for many people, past lives as well. And if we're not willing to go down to that journey and start going through those cellular memories and the thing is, you're not going to forget what's happened to you. But what you are going to get rid of is the emotion around it. And it's no longer going to be controlling you. Right?
Yeah, what we do, may I share my screen?
Please do, yes, explain it better than I can.
This is this is from our coaching kit that we give to our clients. This is what we call full power. And the left brain is known as the IQ brain, or the knowledge brain, the analytical sequencing brain, right? We need that, and men typically are very good at that. And then the right brain is the emotional quotient brain, the wisdom brain. It's in charge of our creativity, our innovative thinking, solutions, emotions, in our intuitiveness and our connection to spirit. And we often, there are men who are very right-brained, and there are women who are very left-brained. So what we say here at CLI is that we work with people to become bilateral thinkers, people who can switch easily between the left and the right brain, no matter whether they're male or female. It doesn't matter. And I want to share a story. This happened to me very early on in my practice. This gentleman, we were living in Ottawa, and he drove from Montreal, even through blinding snowstorms, to come and have sessions with me. But his very first session, he sat down, he had tears in his eyes, and he said he had heard about me through some association in Montreal. And he said, I have 3 things that you need to know. Number 1, he said, my business is near bankruptcy. Number 2, my relationship with my wife and my kids is on the rocks. And number 3, because of the first 2, I am suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and of course, he'd been already working with his doctor around the issue, but he thought he'd supplemented with my work. And then he said, now, you need to know that I am listed in the history books as being a Mensa genius.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very high IQ. So if I'm so damn smart, how come I can't solve my own problems?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I shared with him, this little left brain, right brain thing. And by the way, there are going to be some people out there who are going to dispute what I just said about left brain, right brain. And they're right, because sometimes our connection to spirit and emotions, and the cells are in the reversed brain, right? So, and it's okay. That's the way it is. If they're born that way, or they're wired that way, it doesn't really matter. So we call that transposed hemispheres. So anyway, this lovely guy, we worked together, and within a very short period of time, he stopped being suicidal. That was within, I think, 6 weeks or something, even before. And then within 3 months, his relationship with his wife and his kids was healed. And within 6 months, he got a new job. You see, he was an entrepreneur in the computer field, and he just realized that he was not an entrepreneur. So he became a professor at a university college. And a year later, he sent me an email, and he said, Betska, he said, I have some great news to share with you. He said, I just won an award for innovative teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it showed us that he was really tapping into that right brain now, because he was trying to solve his problems with his left brain.
Right. Yes.
So when clients come to us, they learn how to be bilateral thinkers. They're going, switching, and not just the brain stuff, but into all the cells of the body, because we have so many of those that need reprogramming.
But there's also been so much pressure put on people that if you're intelligent, you've got all the answers. And it's got nothing to do with it, has it? Because I always say that's knowledge that you've accumulated, and you may have a comprehension of that knowledge. But until you step into the wisdom of what that knowledge means to you in the now, in your moment, that knowledge is just knowledge. How to truly use it to its best benefit is you need to step into the wisdom, and that is incorporating the heart and the soul and the spirit into the equation.
That's right. So let's go to this next page. This is what you and I talked about last time, which is very interesting, the power of the subconscious mind, and let your viewers understand the cellular stuff, right? So can you see this okay, or shall I blow it up?
I don't know if people can blow it up, or if you can blow it up in sections. That might be good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So there are many scientists out there now. When Dr. Bruce Lipton was working on his research, he's a cell biologist, and Candace Pert is a neuroscientist. When those two were working on their work, on their research, I was working on mine. And only later did we come to know about each other. And actually, it's a cute little story. I'm a heavy meditator, and that's why I really believe if people are going to tap into their wisdom, they need to do mind kinetics and they need to meditate, right? And you need to have a diet that allows you to tap into your intuition, right? That's why I'm a vegan. But anyway, my husband, John Burr, and I, we went to study with Dr. Bruce Lipton. And as I said, he's very clear that 95 to 99% of our daily behaviors are operated by our subconscious mind. Our subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. So we need to know that programming that's in there, because if it's negative, we have to kick it out.
Right.
That's what I had to do for myself first. And then people started to knock on my door.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I've got clients in 50 countries, you see.
Right.
So, this is vitally important. But John and I were sitting in the front row. We wanted to learn from this giant of a man, right, who's done all this cell biology research. And it all started with, he had a petri dish full of cells that were sick. They were sick. The cells were sick. He went to his boss and said, "Why are my cells sick? How do I fix this?" And the boss said, "Change the environment." Change the environment. So he changed the environment. And it's the same with humans, right? And the cells all got healthy again. So we need to change our own environment, our own thinking. Look at our cells in our body that are sick, because we have thinking cells that are negative. We need to identify them and change the beliefs, change the energy in that cell to be positive, and then we can become more and more peaceful and happy, and we come up with solutions, right?
If I may interject here, I did Yashiyuki Emoto, who was the assistant to Emoto, the water demonstration. And for people who don't know about 3 rooms, 3 different waters, one ignored, one given love, one given, hate. The one with hate turned literally to black. The one ignored didn't change at all. And the one with love literally crystallized, which they could measure into high frequency. We've got to bear in mind, we are 70% water. And so if we're around bombardment all the time of negativity, of no, it never will happen, or, this world is going to hell in a handbasket, that negativity is changing our entire chemistry in our body. So, when you say, but I'm a positive person, if you're around negativity, or you're not living your true life and your true purpose, it is going to attack your cells, because the water that feeds your cells is being contaminated. So we've got to understand we bring that negativity within us because of our environment, and our environment and our verbiage, the way we speak to ourselves and everyone else, is incredibly important.
That's right. And what was really cool about Emoto's jar of love, water with the word love on it, was it looked like diamond crystals, like snowflakes.
Yes. Yes, and interesting, he's carried on that work around the world and measured various areas water, and to see where areas are more peaceful. And of course, North America ain't it right now.
It's really precious work. So here he goes on to say, Bruce and Lipton goes on to say, and this is actually my diagram here, the beliefs in our conscious mind must be congruent with our beliefs in our subconscious mind. So let's say, for example, a corporate leader. In his conscious mind, he might believe, I can bring my team together. I believe in my team. But when we take him into his subconscious mind, he doesn't believe it.
Right.
So we need to make sure that our beliefs in our subconscious are congruent, shakes hands with the beliefs in our conscious mind.
Otherwise, there's conflict.
Yeah, there's a conflict, and it's the same with our marriages, right? Or with children in school who are being bullied, there's so much conflict. We need to be in our power. And how do we get into our power? This is what we need to do. I'm very conscious of our time here, Sarah.
That's okay.
Whoops. There is we know from science that we have between 50 and 100 trillion cells in our body. That's a lot. So in other words, we don't really know how many are there. It's just too big of a range, right? Yeah. But what we do know is that many of these cells, as this picture here indicates, look after our breathing, our heartbeats, our liver function, kidney function, hearing, eyesight, etc. And gazillions of those cells look after our thoughts. Because Einstein and Lavoisier have been very clear that energy and matter are interchangeable, right? So we need to understand a lot of that depth. But what happens here is, let's say we've got a woman whose marriage is on the rocks, or a couple that the marriage is on the rocks. We were talking about women earlier, so that's why I was continuing on with that theme. But what we would do is we would help them study their marriage, the judgments that they have against each other, why they're angry, why they're frustrated. And we would do that on a conscious level first, usually, okay, so what are you thinking is the cause? And of course, there's often that judgment and blame, and there's a lack of self-love and a lack of faith in each other, a lack of respect, the usual things, right? But then when we take them into the subconscious mind, oh my God, as you said, right? What you thought was the problem oftentimes is not the issue. So if this is a cell in charge of that marriage, and believe me, there'd be many cells in charge of that marriage, the receptors, as Candace Pert told us, the receptors are constricted, and the receptor's job is to let in oxygen and glucose and phytochemicals. So that's its job. But if it's blocked with emotion, if there's a lot of anger, frustration, and so on, those receptors are blocking the food from entering the cell. So that's why the client cannot think clearly. That's why they need Mind-Kinetics. We need to take that vacuum cleaner to that subconscious mind and clean out the emotions that are preventing the food from entering the cell. And let me finish this, please. And then the wisdom can come in. The right brain can tap into the superconscious, which is where all the wisdom is, and then the wisdom can flow into the client's consciousness. It's so easy once we understand it.
And the thing is, we've got to understand, when a cell breaks down, there's a domino effect. And with all of those cells breaking down, when we look at disease, it's dis-ease within the body. It's dis-ease within our cellular structure, within our psyche. And then when we do deal with this stuff, dis-ease has gone. Whatever illness you get might be environmental or this, that, but it's not coming from the emotion. Cancer is clearly 80% dis-ease of the soul, of the mind, of the heart. So we really do need to look at this work as being imperative to our well-being. Not just our success, but our well-beingness.
And and some people say, oh my God, is this going to be too difficult? I say, no, you can start small. You can do the brainwalk. Go to www.thebrainwalk.com and start cleaning it out. It's gentle. I tell you, it's very gentle.
Step by step.
But if you want to learn a lot more than, women, please come and listen to our free video episodes coming up sometime in the next couple months, and start cleaning out. But if you really want to go whole hog, then please come to our school and learn how to coach yourself, and then you can coach your children. You can coach your husband or wife. You can coach your employees. You can coach your peers in the corporate world. Bottom line is, Sarah, we got to start cleaning up.
Yes. Well, I mean, metaphorically, let's actually look at our oceans right now. There is more plastic in the oceans right now than anything else, killing life left, right, and center. When you look at our waste of food, our waste of this, our waste of that, we have stepped into wastefulness. Now, we know that this waste, if it's not being creatively reproduced or lost the word here, but dealt with in a way, either disposed of or reused or recreated, it's going to be something that's in our way. So I think right now, when we look at the planet and all the wastefulness that we are seeing around the world, it's a very much of a reflection of our inner waste that's going on, our inner saturation that's going on. And if we clean up ourselves inside, we're automatically going to bring that more conscious practice to the world and everything else that we do.
There's a beautiful analogy. I put it in my book, and it's of in the old days, if you had a husband whale up in Alaska and the female down in New Zealand, for example, they could whistle to each other and hear each other's whistle across the globe. But now there's so much plastic and so much garbage, those whales have trouble communicating with each other. It's hard for them to love each other. And so it's the same with humans. You know, we've got all this garbage, these negative thoughts in ourselves we need to clean up. And only then can we hear our intuition.
I mean, for such
hear our loving self.
Yeah, for such an intelligent race, we've actually become very dumb. Because what we have actually lost the art of is listening to ourselves from the inside out, of listening to the planet, of listening to each other. We have made, you know, I've often said this, our technology has grown so fast, but we are evolving so slowly. And, you know, we've latched on to the technology. And of course, here we are doing this through the internet. Wonderful tool. I'm very grateful for the fact that we can do this around the world. But we've become kind of dependent on things instead of looking at them as a way to help us improve. It's become something that's made us lazier. And, I'm told that, if you haven't got people in 2 seconds, you've lost them. And I said, well, I'm certainly not addressing those people. If you haven't got more than 2 seconds, you haven't got anything. I haven't got anything you're ready to hear. Because we've got to actually understand we need to invest time in ourselves, a process into ourselves, something that really gets in there and cleans things out. And in that self-discovery, as you're getting rid of all this garbage, you come to the forefront. You and your beautiful purpose of what you are here comes to the forefront. It's swimming amongst the sewage of pain and memories and unable to come to the top. When you get rid of all of that, you suddenly see yourself and go, I've been holding myself back for so long with all these memories. Look who I am now without this load on me. If we can go back to your full screen, love, because I can't see your full thing there, unless you've got something else to show us here.
Well, the only other thing I was going to show was the coaching tree, which is, just auto hide that. These are the number of methodologies that I've developed. These are separate coaching methodologies that our students learn, whether they want to coach, they want to be professional coaches, or whether they're leaders who want to learn how to coach their employees, or whether they are,
in whichever way they want to use it.
Whatever, personal or professional leadership. And the one I did with you.
But the thing is, when you use this, the first thing you want to do is share it, right? It's worked for you. Now you want to be able to share it with other people, your loved ones, the people you work with, because you want them on the same platform as you. So yes, this is something that you do want to know how to share. And the one you shared with, you did with me?
Yeah, it was the Brainwalk Pentalateral Thinker, which was number 31. And that was about, and every person on the planet should have the following done. They need to identify the biggest boulder sitting on their shoulder, stopping them from achieving their dreams, stopping them from achieving the success they need in life. And once that big boulder is identified, because that boulder is stopping, it's like this huge wall, it's stopping us from progressing. So once you identify that and you remove it, then let's say, for example, with me, my boulder was I didn't love myself. I did not love myself because I came from this abusive household that shut my love down for me and for others. I had trouble giving love as well as receiving
because
love.
You couldn't trust it. Right? When you
exactly.
You didn't know it. This is why we see people who have been abused. You think that somebody who's been abused would never be able to abuse their own or anyone else. But when you've got to understand, if that's the only pattern that you have, that's the pattern you're going to follow. Right? Until you clean that pattern and understand there is another option. So this is why people repeat what's happened to them and impose it upon others. Can you talk more about the brain walk? Because you're saying people it's free and people can get to it and just start the process?
Yes, the brain walk. I've developed over 8 of them, but I'm trying to get full screen here again, trying to get you to, how do I do that? I don't know how to do that.
I can't help you, I'm afraid.
Oh, I see. I think maybe here.
It has few options up the top. Oh, there you go, right?
Yeah, right. There, yeah. So the brain walk, you got to hear this story. It's just so amazing. I developed the first one in 1997, and again, it was for me.
Of course.
Developed for me.
If it doesn't work on you, it's not going to work on anyone else, right?
Yeah, and then everybody started, coming and saying, teach me. So, all right, so I did that. And then when George Bush attacked Iraq in 2002, I believe it was, I got really angry. So why is this idiot, and I did call him an idiot, why is this idiot going to Iraq to cause more bloodshed? It just didn't feel right for me, right?
The eye for the eye, yeah.
So I sat down and I prayed to God and I said, God, please give me a tool that is going to help me heal this, because it's just too deep. This killing has to stop on this planet. It's just like, And so I in deep prayer and meditation, out came the brain walk, A Journey for Peace of Mind. It was a new brain walk. And this is the one that I encourage people to start with at www.thebrainwalk.com, because what happened was I developed it, and then I worked on myself, and I got rid of my judgments of George Bush, and then I could see his side of the story. I was no longer in judgment. I was sending him love instead of hate. Right. Imagine if all the people on the world were sending George Bush hate. That's not a good thing.
No. Well, then he's going to come. Every decision he makes is going to come from the hate platform rather than the love platform.
Yes,
right? When we step into the love consciousness, then you're going to see solutions differently.
Yeah, exactly. So I developed it, and then I went into John's office because we're co-presidents, and I said, what if we were to give this to the world free of charge? So we did, and we spent thousands of dollars to create it, and we just spent another few $1,000s. Anybody can go on, they can open it on their phone, on Firefox, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, on either one of any of those platforms, browsers. They can do it on their phone, they can do it on their tablet, they can do it on their laptop, main computer, anywhere. And what it does is in 10 minutes, it zooms into your subconscious mind. Okay, subconscious mind, take the vacuum cleaner.
Right.
So within 10 minutes, you zoom into your subconscious mind and you find out what is the next priority challenge that's bugging you inside, that's causing you not to have peace. What is it? And you type it in. There's a chat box kind of thing to type it in. And then you go into the subconscious, superconscious, and you pull out a strength. What is a strength of yours that you can use right now to overcome this challenge that's eating you up inside? And then you walk the brainwalk map. And the brainwalk map is like a rainbow of colors. And it takes you through your chakra system, from your lowest chakra to your highest chakra. And it actually cleans out the cells, the negative energy, the negative emotions stuck in your cells. And some people can really feel it. If they're sensitive, they're writing all this stuff out, and then they can just feel pop, 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 pop. We say popping receptors. And then after they've got to the center of the brainwalk, they out will come from their superconscious now, okay, their genius center, their Einstein self, will come a solution in the form of a symbol, an object, a color, feeling, or sound. And then they stop and we ask them, well, what does that represent to you? And then how is it a solution? So they have to decode.
Yeah.
It simulates how Einstein used to think, is basically how I developed this. So in 10 minutes, maybe 15, maybe 5. It depends on how quick the client is. But they can develop a very powerful solution to a challenge of theirs. And of course, all those emotions stuck in those receptors have flown the coop. They're no longer there. They've got a lot of inner peace around that element of the issue. Now, if it's around relationships or money or spirituality, major issues, they may have to keep doing the brain walk, right? Or they can hire Betska or one of our coaches worldwide to go deeper into it, because the brain walk will clean out a lot, but you might need to have a coach work with you as well.
Well, it also kind of, I think, brings aware. You know, you've cleared the surface, but now you realize, oh, there's something deeper here. But maybe you actually, you could be a little more directional on what that deeper is. And once you've started opening up, then it's easier for someone to go in there and help you kind of really get down to the root of the problem and clear it out.
And leaders around the world love it. Children love it. Parents love it. Everybody loves it. And if your viewers go online and they try it and they need some support, then there's an email address you can write to us, and we'll give you a hand. It's a very, very powerful, simple way to start clearing that subconscious mind out, getting rid of those emotions that are trapped in those receptors of the cells that are in charge of your challenges. So, and what it does too is it makes you realize, when you pick out a strengths value, because it's all done on a random generator, these values keep popping up at you. It's fun. It's fun stuff. You begin to realize how strong you are inside.
That's it. That's self-discovery of really where your strength is, which leads you to your purpose, right? As you said, the guy that was absolutely brilliant entrepreneur, well, you know, because he was brilliant didn't mean he had the entrepreneur gene. You know, that really requires a different gene altogether. But the teaching is where the creativity came out. He used his genius, this creatively, in opening up the minds of others. Self-discovery, he discovered what his purpose was. We're all looking for that. And, you know, in about the 1700 shows I've done over the last few years, there's a common denominator that I find with people. Injured child. The inner child, the injured child, everybody that has some form of issues in life, it comes to the child that has been injured in some way. And we need to go into that beautiful child within and set them free. Because really, when you are looking at that creativity, the creativity of a child is open so beautifully, abundantly, but they haven't got the skills to take that creativity forward. So if you let your inner child free by unburdening them with all the pain and the suffering, and allow that inner child to come out now with the knowledge that you have, you can really set that creativity completely into motion, which will be really, really exciting. But I say it all the time, it doesn't matter what's happened to you. That has been your journey. One of the reasons we're here is in our self-discovery, is to discover what is our purpose here? What's our service here? What instrument do we bring to the orchestra in life? And that comes through journeying through life by being willing to be a participant in our lives, willing to do what we need to do in order to be the best we can be in our own lives, to fortify ourselves with love and an open consciousness and acceptance and a willingness to explore. And then we step into our beautiful purpose without carrying around with us things that no longer serve us. But if you're not willing to do the work, and you're looking for a quick app and a quick solution, you're going to keep going around in that circle over and over again until it diminishes you, until the cells say, we're too saturated, we can't keep up. And the body breaks down.
One of the exciting methodologies in these 80 that I was showing you is called spiritual life purpose. And it's a wonderful process because it takes us into our childhood to find the 3 main values that we're missing as a child. Maybe it was understanding or respect or faith or love. And this is not about blaming the parents or grandparents or guardians. No, it's just about, you know, we were in that situation. It happened. So, you know, what was the learning? And then
Yes.
when we find what the learning was, you see, what was missing from our childhood is what we continue to pursue our entire lifetime.
Yes.
That's why it's our spiritual life purpose. And I just did it again with someone on Friday of last week, one of my clients from Australia, and she was blown away. She just thought, oh my God, this is so powerful, so important for me to understand. I now have something
Yes.
that this is my purpose. For example, with my purpose, what I discovered was my purpose is to help people end the war within themselves.
Yes.
And replace it with peace and love. And that's what I've done through the development of Mind-Kinetics. And I continue my own journey, of course, right? I'm still learning and growing and loving it. So, yeah, just so your viewers know that they can come and spend 90 minutes with one of our coaches, and we'll help you find your spiritual life purpose. And you will feel so free after that. It's quite amazing.
And, you know, I love it when people step into purpose, you know, when that self-discovery of who they are. And, you know, for some people, it's a kiss on the brow, a little nudge. And for some people, it's the cosmic 2x4 that leads them on their path. But it's like when they finally discover their path and they go, it doesn't matter how much suffering I've done. It doesn't matter how hard the journey has been to get here. But now I'm here living in this purpose. Everything is worthwhile. But the thing is, they went through the process. We can't get anywhere without going through the process. There's no going up and around and digging a hole. Go through the process. Pop those little membranes and set yourself free, right? You know, you have to be willing to take that journey of going through the process in order to get rid of what's not serving you and step into the service that you were here to do.
Yeah, and you just feel so happy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm on purpose. I am on my purpose. I am here to do what I am meant to do. This is my soul contract. Yeah.
Exactly. Soul contracts, what you signed up here to do. And the thing is too, as I talked about chapters earlier, is every chapter in your life is preparing you for that discovery of that purpose. And everything you've learned thus far is something you will bring with you. So never look upon it as a waste of time, or you've only discovered your purpose later in life. Is everything you have done thus far has given you skills or tools or knowledge or something that you now, in your consciousness, can apply to your purpose. So it doesn't matter what has been. Take the good from it and apply it now to what is now. And then step into that and be. We don't want people doing anymore, right? We want people being.
Yeah, you know, that raises a point that we have a very sound belief here, and that is that every client is perfect inside. Their soul is perfect. They have all the answers inside. Our job is simply to find out, help them connect with their wisdom, and that's why we're so different from therapy and counseling.
Yes,
you know, we're really all about helping them to find out what those emotions are blocking that cell from getting nourishment and from getting their solutions from their superconscious. I mean,
it's not about reliving the pain, is it? It's about releasing the pain.
We definitely we will take them into their subconscious to find the memories, and what their negative beliefs are and whatever is trapped in there, and then in 90 minutes we set it free. For example, with one of our coaches who was a counselor, she said that it would take her 3 months to help a client get through an issue. With Mind-Kinetics, she can do it in an hour and a half.
Right.
So that's, you know, we don't want people to sit in that emotion.
No.
Because that's not good for them. It's spiritually harming. So, but we need to go in and find out what it is, quickly find it, you know, what's going on there, what's the root cause of whatever's going on in your life, switch the negative beliefs in your subconscious and kick out the negative. And that's why Mind-Kinetics is so powerful.
You're a Terminator.
I'm a Terminator. Oh, there's a new word for our marketing.
Exactly. Cellular
Funny.
memory terminator.
Terminator. Gotta love it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yes, I will be back. No, the memory won't be.
And by the way, you know, the brain walk we market as the world's #1 positive thinking tool.
And boy, do we need that. And the thing is, we've got to remember this. You may step into one, and as you said, you need to reuse it, because what you've done is you've just taken a particular memory and you know, pop, and now you're in a different frame of mind with that. But something else is going to come up tomorrow that is another memory from another cell,
Yeah.
because you're in another situation. This is
Yeah.
something that is ongoing, but it becomes part of your life practice that you do as a tool to live.
Yeah.
It's not a one-size-fits-all, pop, all clean now. Now it is about going through that process. You've got the tools, you've got the skills. When something comes up, you know how to address it. Keep yourself clean, right?
Yeah. And enjoy the learning.
Yes. Yes.
You know, enjoy learning about yourself. I mean, when I first started, as I said, 15, 30,000 negative beliefs. I don't know how many I've kicked out, but every time I did it, I learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
I learned so much about others. I learned about how I interacted with others. I learned about my own heart space and my self-love and having faith and respect. And, you know, we're here to learn how to love ourselves and others more.
Oh,
That's
yes.
the only reason why, the main umbrella,
Yeah.
life purpose, but then we each have our own individual unique purposes, which is what our process will help you find out. But
the teacher is not here to impose knowledge on you. The teacher is to show you knowledge and learn from the way you receive it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
how,
good thing.
How we learn is when somebody's taken our tool, and if they've responded or reacted or used it in a different way, becomes now a learning for us. And just learning from somebody else's light bulb going off, or somebody stepping into their own beautiful empowerment, releasing somebody. You know that you could use exactly that same technique on someone else and it may not work the same way. You know, for that particular type of person, you can use it that way. For another type of person, you may need to use it a different way. And that's all in the verbiage. It's all in the energy that you give. Because what you're really talking about here is energy. You're going in there and you're terminating those cells with a zap of energy. And then it's a reverbiage, a re-dialogue into how you speak to that cell and in replenishing it.
Well, speaking of energy, you know, each one of these 80 methodologies has a different frequency.
Right. Yes.
You know, I work in that field of, you know, quantum physics for coaching, and everything we've developed is all around energy. So when once a client comes to us, and let's say they come and they want to work on, my boss doesn't want to listen to me.
Right.
So after we found the real issue, real goal, and the results the client wants to achieve from the session, then we go in here and we intuitively pick the methodology that has the right frequency.
Yes.
You see, and most of our clients don't even know that. I mean, we don't bother. I mean, it's such a deep science, and because it involves cell biology and quantum physics and the science of Mind-Kinetics, which is its own science, and there's so much into this system that we use. You know, the bottom line is we get results. Our clients get results, and no dilly-dallying about, or, you know, there are so many modalities that take forever to help someone.
Tell me about your mother. Yes.
Yeah. No. This is fast.
But you know, that's one thing. I mean, what I found fascinating is, I'm not going to give away your process, but, you know, with what you tell me to do, and you ask me what the issue I wanted to address, and then the process, very simple. And then looking at, you know, what those memories were that came up, and realizing I didn't even know I had memories around those memories. I didn't even know those were issues until I thought they were long gone. Right. And And then it's like, no, you ain't dealt with them yet. You got to clean them out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
Yeah.
since then, it's actually opened up some more things I know I need to clean out,
Yeah.
because once you start spring cleaning, right, you got to keep on
Yeah.
going. But
It was,
it's
yeah.
not what you think it is. It's not what's on the surface. It's what's
Yeah.
below that you've got to get in there and clean out. Clean the
That's it.
roots. Clean the roots. Otherwise, you're going to grow things that are going to die. Right? So
that's what I love about Mind-Kinetics. It finds the root cause so quickly, and so why work at something for weeks or months when you can do it so quickly, right? And of course, some of the bigger.
Why keep paying a psychiatrist $300 or $400 an hour to regurgitate the same old problem when you can just get in there, zap it, and you're teaching them to have their own skills to go in there. But if they need the support, it's right there to go to people when you have an issue that's too hard for you to do.
With many of my clients, we've had the medical doctor. Like, there was a corporate situation out on the East Coast a few years ago, and this woman, an Indigenous woman, was being abused by her colleagues who were non-Indigenous. And she was an officer in government, and everything was being put under the rug. And this Indigenous woman ended up, on antipsychotic drugs, on a couple of antidepressants, 2 or 3 actually, and alcohol and street drugs. She was a mess,
right?
Because the government didn't deal with her situation. So what we do in cases like that is, I believe everybody has their purpose. So the medical doctor played a role, the counselor played a role, the psychiatrist played a role, and then I played the role. You see, so we were all working, but my client decided that after a couple of sessions, she didn't want to work with any of those anymore. She just wanted to do Mind-Kinetics, and her choice. I didn't say anything to her; she just chose. But it was Mind-Kinetics in the end. Yeah, it was Mind-Kinetics in the end that got her back into a loving state and into working with her colleagues again. And so whatever work she'd done with the counselors and doctor and psychiatrists up to that point, we have to remember that they would have helped her to some degree or other.
Right. Again, the chapters and the knowledge that you're learning along the way.
Yeah. So they helped her, and then it was time for Betska to come in. To use Mind-Kinetics to finish it off, because these other professionals don't have our tools, and I don't have their tools.
Right.
So we're each playing a very professional role. So I really honor all of those other professionals. And when it's time, here's another story. And that's why we welcome counselors and psychiatrists and psychologists. Please come and learn Mind-Kinetics, because I think it's really going to help you.
Cool for them, yes.
Yeah, because this young man last year, he an Asian fellow, he took some marijuana, and he had a psychotic attack. He ended up in the hospital for 2 months.
Wow.
It was really serious. So the marijuana must have been tainted with fentanyl or something. I don't know what. Poor guy. I mean, he was a mess. And so they let him out of the hospital, and all they did for him, because I asked him, well, who's helping with your emotional, spiritual fallout from all of this? And he said, nobody. They're just, once a month he goes in and gets a shot in the bum, and that's it. So his mother was very worried, and it was actually my Chinese specialist, Oriental specialist, who said, go and see Betska. She will really help you. And this was a case where he was addicted to marijuana. Okay. And he was 19, 20 when all of this was happening. So it was really, we say young people don't do this stuff, right? Nobody should do it, in my opinion, because it fries the brain, it fries the cells. But it took us only 9 months. And you need to know that he couldn't focus he couldn't watch TV for longer than 5 or 10 minutes. He couldn't be on his phone, on the internet, or he couldn't watch a movie. He couldn't read for longer than 5 or 10 minutes. He was so shut down. So he kept coming time after time after time. And 9 sessions, that's all it took, Sarah. 9 sessions, and this kid's back in school.
Right.
he can focus, and
he's got his life back.
He's got his life back. And I think what happened there was that because he tried the drugs and did it, that he lost his angel.
Yeah.
On a spiritual level, he lost the angel that was with him, because when you do that stuff, watch out, you lose a lot of support from the spiritual world. And that his mother is just thrilled, and so is the Oriental doctor that recommended him.
Well, just what you've hit on there about, losing the angels. People don't realize that our cosmic support is, again, vibrational, is frequency. Yeah. If what you're doing to your body becomes so extreme, it shatters that frequency. And it means that they can't channel back in until your frequency opens up. And if your frequency is in high pitch or high static, they can't enter, because they're coming from a place of love and on a certain vibrational level, and they cannot come into a body that either has gone to a lower depth or is at a screaming pitch. There is no entry point for them. So you have to bring your frequency down to a certain level so that it can open up again for them to be able to come in and connect.
Wow. Thank you for explaining it that way, because I think people will really relate to that. He had gone, taking the drugs, he'd gone to a lower frequency.
Right.
And with Mind-Kinetics, he was, he was able to pull his frequency up. So then his angels could come back in and support him. And
angels work, all the cosmic thing works at a certain frequency. And this is when we, when we really feel, sometimes, God, why aren't you there for me at my deepest, darkest despair? Because you're at such a low frequency. That's one of our human tests, is to, no matter what is happening to us, are we going to get back up? Are we going to try and raise our vibration? And once we've reached a certain level, we now can open up those doors for that cosmic help, for that divine help. But they cannot come to you at the lower level. It's beyond their ability to do so. So it's up to us as human beings to do what we need to do to rise up to meet them at that frequency.
So many people don't realize that help is there. And
yes,
as you know, I do 2.5 hours of meditation every day at least. And I'm such a firm believer in everything we just talked about. But the majority of the population does not understand it. So usually I don't even go into a discussion on that unless they bring it up.
Right.
And it's amazing how many corporate leaders really understand it. They understand that spiritual stuff, and they want to reconnect with it. You know? So it's kind of it's kind of neat when the leader starts to talk about that, and then I can start supporting him or her.
Well, we're seeing so much more, because I've interviewed an awful lot of high-level business people who work with government, who work with big corporations and industry, and it's to change the paradigm into a consciousness now, where it is people and planet before profit. It is about giving back, reseeding. It is about supporting and treating people as family and not as commodity, and not as what I do call it the Trumpism, because that is about them getting as much as they want at the cost of everyone else. And that paradigm is changing. And industries that really want to stay around know they have to stay. They have to change their practices. And you can't step into consciousness unless you are willing to raise your vibration, which means you're willing to do the work to raise that vibration, to reach that conscious frequency where you now, in integrity and respect, can work with others. It's happening. It's beautiful that it is happening. And I think we're not seeing the consciousness or spirituality or, quantum soul ignition as being, a foo-foo anymore. I think it's now hungry. People are hungry for this. Explain to me what it is. And when really all it is frequency, vibrational frequency at different levels, and you're tapping into it and how it benefits you as a human, physical and spiritual being, and come into yourself to be a better person in the world. Simple terms, but people, I think, are hungry for that.
You reminded me about like Mr. Trump and of course Mr. Bush and so on, and we've had many characters in history who have really been so-called nasty and so on. But what we need to realize is that these people, their purpose in life might be to shake us up.
Yes. Shake us up, to wake us up to step up. Yes.
Yes. So that we can love ourselves more. Yes. I mean, look what's happening with the, U.S. election and, coming up and so on. The American people are learning how to love themselves more. And same with our Canadian issues that we're having in Ottawa today, and how about Israel, and how about North Korea, and I mean
the UK with Brexit and everything else.
Yeah,
it's basically business as usual is no longer going to be accepted, and instead of handing our power over to other people, it is now about no, we're taking back our empowerment as a community, as a human race, and we're putting love, kindness, and caring as the key denominator in everything that we do. It's a beautiful time to see this, that we had to see the worst of the worst as an invitation for us to get out of our complacency and step up and be a part of the solution. The solution lies within us, and the more we take care of within us, the more we can be part of the solution on the out.
And that's why women need to step up.
Yes.
Rise and shine and take the lead, because as my teacher says, that my spiritual master, she says that women are born to nurture. We're born to have kids, whether we have them or not. Right. We are born to nurture. And so that nurturing, loving energy, together with that amazing analytical masculine energy, the ability to sequence and analyze of the male counterparts here. Wow, if we learned how to work together, we'll solve all the problems on this planet. We will.
There's everything can be resolved.
Need to, but the women need to step up and lead and shine. And that's why we're running this program coming up soon. It's all free for anyone, and that the men need to allow the women to do that and need to support them. So,
well, the men need to go through the process as well to actually understand the balance, right?
Sure. And the women need to support the men more. Yes. All that stuff. Yeah, right?
The blame game and the shame game has to go.
Yeah,
we've got to understand we've all been a victim of societal's expectations and dictation. We've all been victims of old patterning and teachings. Now we are bright enough to understand that didn't work. It is time to change, and the change starts with me, for me, so that I can bring me to the stage, right?
Yeah. So, I would just like to share with everyone that I'm really glad that I got the fuzziness in my brain and the lower back pain. I believe it was a message from the divine that I needed to start looking at myself, because I tell you, I was making such big money in corporate, my hat matched my gloves and my shoes, beautiful car, fancy home, but inside I was a mess.
Yes.
So I needed to clean up my mess, take that vacuum cleaner to that subconscious mind, develop these tools, terminated it, And then then as I was cleaning, people started to come to me, and they continue to come to me to help them and our student coaches around the world. And that's why our coaching style is different from any other coaching style in the world, because it has the science of mind kinetics embedded in it. So,
and the thing is, people don't need to understand the science. You've made it so simple. You've just made it something that all they need to do is trust the soul and heart's intuition with the knowledge that is in front of them, and allow the process to happen. Because you've made it simple. Exactly. They don't need a PhD in anything. All they need to have done is connect to their own heart and soul spirit center. And come from that center, and then you've got the tools for them to apply. You've made it very, very simple.
If
Thank
people
you.
read my book, you're welcome. If they read my book, they're going to see so many beautiful stories. There's one in there called The Princess Story, and I'm not going to tell it. I want people to go and read it. And it's absolutely delightful. It's going to melt your heart about this little girl who came across, took the ferry with one of our coaches, and had a session with me, and it just changed her life around. I'm sure it saved her life, actually. She was 10 or 11 when it happened, and it's in the end, she realized that she was a princess inside. And that's what I want people to understand when they are their own king and queen inside. No ego, no ego. They're beautiful inside. Let's just get rid of all this, crap that's in the way of our seeing it. And then we can move ahead. So
that's what
thank
we're
you,
here
Sarah.
for. Oh, thank you. Now, how did they get hold of the book? How did they get hold of you? And how do they become a part of this? So lay it all on us.
Okay, thank you. So the website to go to is www.coachingandleadership.com. And there they'll see testimonials from students and some of our TV shows that have been done on us. And there are some links at the top where they can write to us if they like. They'll see if they want to learn Mind-Kinetics, go to coach training, and they can sign up and learn there. If they want an hour preview, we do free webinars to teach them more about it before they sign up. And if they want coaching sessions, they can. It says choose a coach. They can choose a coach, and our coaches work around the world, so they can work on Skype or Zoom or anything. They don't have to be physically in your city. And then if they want to do the brain walk, they'll see it on that website, but they can also go to www.thebrainwalk.com. And come and do the work. Clean out the subconscious. Take that vacuum cleaner. Terminate all this garbage that's in your way of being who you really can be and want to be. People want that freedom. They want that inner peace. So come and find it. And also, if you want to sign up, we don't have the website ready for it, but this Women Take the Lead and Shine, just write to me at Betska, BETSKA, at coachingandleadership.com, and we'll put you on the list to receive the free video sessions when they are ready, for free video episodes.
Excellent. And the book we also got from the site?
From the CLI store. We have so many products on there that I've developed, like Noble Life card games. Every family should have a set. Valuable tool games for leaders, assessments. People can do. All of my books are on there. I don't know, there's so much stuff, articles, whatever.
Then go in and just get lost, take the journey, and if you're going to start with one thing, go and start with the mind walk, right?
The brain walk, the brain walk,
and just start with that first, and just let it see how it works for you, how it ignites you, and then the book, and then just start going through everything. The whole point is, please, nothing is going to come to you except for this wonderful information, and now it's an invitation through this inspiration for you to come and be a part of it. If you've got some issues that you don't even know what they are, but you know that there's there somewhere, this is the platform for you to open up, delete them, terminate them completely. And then in that freedom of you lightening up, of you coming to your own surface, you actually discover exactly what you're here for. That beautiful self-discovery of what your purpose is, because you're not being weighed down by things that aren't serving you. So it's a wonderful, we all need that clean out. It's seasons do it again. Winter comes, everything dies for reseeding again in the spring. So we haven't got that ability until now to get rid of all those old memories that aren't serving us, and they're contaminating our soil, and they're not allowing other things to grow. So go in, terminate them, and delete it.
That is such a great analogy. And everybody who's watching, you want inner peace. I know you do.
Yes.
Why would you want to stay in chaos in your life?
Yes.
So come and find it, please.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor. Come and find it.
Wonderful.
And watch more of Sarah's shows.
I get wonderful people like this, and it doesn't matter what walk of life or what is your interest. We've got people here that will really help you in your own self-discovery of life, because after all, this world needs you. We need every single one of you to step up into your beautiful abundance, your instrument. I've got the orchestra here for you. Come and join it, but you've got to be willing to do the work. And when you do, the reward is going to be absolutely extraordinary. And it's wonderful when you're willing to go through the process and come out the other end. That new birth of yourself is, oh, hallelujah, I didn't know I could be so awesome.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much,
Sarah.
This has been wonderful. So folks,
thank you.
Remember, it all lies in your hands. I bring you the wonderful information, the people that truly and utterly do care. Until you get rid of the stuff that you've been carried around that's slowing you down, you're not going to be able to propel forward in something you really are here to do. So be willing to do the work. Delete, terminate all those old memories that aren't serving you, and step into your own beautiful, wonderful awesomeness that's waiting to be found. So until next time, folks, it's bye for now.
Bye-bye. Love you all. Bye-bye. Thanks, Sarah.
Pleasure. Thank you. We hope that you enjoyed the show. To hear more of these wonderful shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com, just look up our podcast genre list. You will see many shows archives there ready for listening. Don't forget to share these wonderful shows. And if you wish to be a guest or a host, or you have an organization that needs to be highlighted, contact us at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com. Bye for now.